Hello, good morning, everyone. So I will talk today about, as Dave mentioned, the new spring clamp, screwed terminal block line, and it has some really nice features that connect well built in, because we used to have, or we still have, the existing screw terminal block line. And it's a nice line. You'd be very successful with it, but there were always a couple features which some other competitors had and we didn't. The old line has a very large variety of blocks, but still it's something missing. So ConnectWell, basically what they did was they combined existing the existing screw clamp line with some features of the new spring clamp line, and added the push-in jumper feature to it. So this was always one of the reasons, as Dave mentioned, why we couldn't get a lot of Phoenix business, and we were very hopeful to do it with that line. And then I have a couple other blocks that we added to existing lines, which I think are interesting, and I'll go over those a little later. So the main highlights of the new CY series, what it is, it's two things. It's the push-in jumper system, and then also it's a line which uses much less accessories than the old line. So blocks are more universal, and therefore there's a lot of more the design features that come with it, and all that with ConnectWell's long time and very strong clamping system that they have. So they all added that into one new line. I'm gonna start with the push-in jumper feature. Can you zoom in a little bit, Michael? So you all know that from the existing spring clamp line. So we have in the middle, you have these two jumper channels, which gives you basically an option for any kind of jumper combination. So you can combine all the 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10 pole jumpers. You can, for example, overlap them and have all kinds of different design features. The other advantage of it is, so it's very easy to actually bridge certain terminal blocks. So you go from one block over others by just eliminating a few of the pins of the current jumpers.
Yeah, thank you.
So
they
you have
just snap off.
So they just snap off really easily. You insert them, and then you cross basically other blocks, and it makes it easier rather than thinking about it before to how to place my terminal blocks on the rail. The other thing is there's all kinds of pole configurations available. We have like 2 poles, 3 poles, 4 poles, up to 10 and even 16 poles. They just snap into one of these jumper channels. And all it lines up really nicely. Another feature that was always a little bit of a problem with the old terminal block line. So we had the old style ground blocks, and to mounting them on the rail, you actually had to tighten a screw which is in the center of the terminal block, and that did not give you the option to actually jumper ground terminal blocks. And in many applications, this is actually used. We had many requests for it, and we could never do it. Now the new CY series actually doesn't have a screw in the middle, so it's a snap-on ground block. So it's just, instead of tightening it down by a screwdriver, it just snaps onto the rail, makes it connection to the rail that way, and it still gives you the option. Then in the middle you have the room, you have the jumper channel, and you can actually insert a jumper here and jumper ground blocks with other ground blocks, or yeah, with other blocks as well. That's good. And another yeah, feature that we added is we have that center marking area here in the middle, which also on the old terminal blocks we didn't have. So now we have the option of putting actually a marker, as you can see on the picture here, yeah, in the top center, and still on left and right of the terminal block. So all these gives you really nice, yeah, different design features, and ConnectWell, our terminal block manufacturer, really found nice solutions for these things. Some other features which add on to the additional design features. So when you look at the old terminal blocks, as the blocks became higher current, bigger wires, the blocks became bigger as well. Now on the new line, you have all the yeah, CY 2.5, 4, 6, 10, 16. You have basically the same size, only the width is different. So you only need, that's what I mentioned before, you only need one end plate. You don't need to yeah, have different end plates, and it's much easier now also from a stocking perspective. Can you actually go back one slide, Michael? Thanks. No, one back. Then another thing which I get into a little bit more details in a little bit, it's the CYDL series part of it. It's a multifunction terminal block, which is one design terminal block, but it comes in different layouts, with disconnects, with fuse blocks, with feed through, with ground terminals. So you can have a lot of options on a very narrow space compared to using a lot of different terminal blocks. And then, as you can see on some of the pictures here, the blocks, the feed-through blocks, the disconnects, the fuse terminals, they all align really nicely, which makes it easier then, yeah, to jumper it and to design a nice looking panel. So what parts are currently available? So that's what we currently have, what went through UL, and what's available. ConnectWell constantly adding products. So in 4 months already, we adding to what's available now, and to basically, yeah, have a complete line then. But I feel confident as of now to release the line, to yeah, offer it to the market, and I think we have a good range to be competitive and to win some projects. So it's basic feed-through terminals that are available, yeah, from 2.5 to 10. The 16 is coming soon, and this was the old CTS 2.5, 4, 6 UNs, yeah, have with all the standard industry standard ratings. Next ones, as mentioned, we have all different ground blocks, like the old CGT series. It's a snap-on ground block with all the additional features, the jumper capability, and we offer everything also what the old line offered. Certain multi-connection terminals, like on one end, 2 out, 2 in, 2 out, also available in ground blocks. The old CMC series, Then a whole bunch of double level terminals, also with ground block features. Very popular terminal block, our CDL4UN. So that's available also in the CY series. Standard fuse blocks without LED. A knife disconnect, the old CKT4U, now the CYK4. And then a little bit more details on the CYDL series, what I mentioned before. This is, it's a multifunction terminal block, and it comes in 3 levels. And basically the top level can be either a fuse, a disconnect, or a feed through. The middle level is usually a feed through, and then there's an optional ground terminal. So that makes a nice combination of different offerings. And why is this so interesting, and why I think that's important, and why it's one of the highlights of the line. So what you can see here on the slide on the upper side, it's a fuse terminal, it's a feed through, and a ground block, and all those arranged on one rail. Now you can have each of those in one terminal, and as you can see, it will save you a lot of space on the rail. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need an end plate, and what it is, it's for high density wiring, and whenever space is an issue. And the CYDL parts, they also have all the marking capabilities, the jumpering capabilities, and it's a very compact terminal block with different features built in.
Okay, super. Real quick, size of it, on the side, the width is going to be.
Well, you can actually, if you zoom in, Michael, or
it's all uniform.
It's all, you can see that here a little bit. So it's basically it's all uniform, and it only has that end plate at the end. So yeah, now here there's no 10 and 6 on there, but they're gonna be the same size, and they just in the width they're different. Yeah.
For you, you would think that was enough, right? You would think that is enough, guys, but no, we have more.
So what the market is going to in the future is actually it will eventually probably, that's what everybody thinks right now, and what's probably going to happen to a push in technology. I mean, you call it push to release. Yeah. I think there's different names for it, but all you do is you basically you insert your wire, you push it in, you don't need a tool, and you remove it by a push button. So that's going to be already occurring, but also especially in the future technology, and we plan on coming out with a whole line, but that's not yet. But we do have one block so far that's available. It's been through UL, and that's available as of now. It's quite a special terminal block. First, we had to look for a name. Competition calls it a marshalling or potential distribution terminal block. That's how it's called, and we do have one available now, and I can show you one right here if you zoom in, Michael. Here. So it looks a little bit like a tree style block or a pyramid style terminal. So it's many levels, in this case eight levels, and it has two connections on each side on each level. So that makes it actually 32 connections in total. It's a push-in terminal. So just I'm not sure how good you can see that on the video or on the screen, but all you do is basically you just push in your wire, and you have your safe connection. You don't need any tool, nothing. And then to release it, you press your push button, and it comes out. The spring goes back in their position, and you can make connected again. So there's 3 versions available on that block. One has 8 levels. They're all independent. And then you have the four connections per level, 2 on each side. The other version, it's the ISH version. So you have, and that's actually what this block is here. You have still your 8 levels, but in this case, it's the upper 4 levels and the lower 4 levels are connected. So you have 2 times 16 connections, and then you have a completely shorted block. It's the IS version of the CP8L32. So all levels are connected, and you have 32 connections on the same potential.
Bruce was wondering. Yeah, I don't really know, Bruce, but he wants to know the pull-out force without a tool. Is there?
I can get that data for you. I have it actually in my office. Okay. I don't know the number right now, but it's pretty high. So.
Okay. All right.
Then some other features it has. Actually, each terminal has a little, or each terminal, each connection, I should say, has a little test point in it to make your connections. To you can check your potentials, your feed through, your current, whatever you want to test. Then there's a separator plate included. Can you zoom in once more, Michael? So what you see here in the middle, this is a separator plate. It just snaps onto one of the blocks, and this gives you then also marking options, which can be printed on our standard plotters and standard systems. There's a retaining bracket, which you can see on the pictures here, just to organize wires as an accessory. It's rated UL at 10 amps, 300 volts, 24 to 14 gauge. Again, it's a potential distribution block, not a power distribution block. I mean, the connections are just not big enough that you can have it higher rated.
But signaling.
It's for signals.
Mm-hmm.
Applications. I did some initial research and see what the competition and where it's sold to and what other parts in the world they sell it to. So it's for distribution control systems, DCS systems, for PLC signal distribution, any high density signal wiring, potential distribution, all kinds of data communication applications where you have many wires coming in. And then I put a question mark. I think it's a very interesting terminal block for whatever applications we can come up with, and I'm having good hopes here that we can sell that in a block.
Okay.
Potential distribution block is actually the one where all 32 are in one
all
common, and the marshalling terminal, it seems to be a specific term in the industry.
Yeah, it's a nice looking block. It's a good looking block.
So,
now, you would think that that's it, but it's not it. We have more.
Do we? Yes.
Yes, we do.
And then a few add-on items that I just want to mention. There's a few more blocks that we came out with, but the next 3 we actually I worked on certain projects, and some of you guys have come in with requests for them, so I just want to mention them. So we have that vertical fuse block. What it is, it's a standard fuse block for a 5x20, 5x25, and then 1/4 inch by 1 inch fuse. So it's 3 different versions, and you screw out the top. You have your fuse in the cover. and it's like the old household panels, fuses basically, and it holds tight onto the fuse holder, so you can't really use the fuse when you pull it out, and it's simply screwed back in.
The difference between the 5x20 and the 1/4 by 1 1/4, is it just the cap itself?
It's the size of the fuse.
No, I know, but is it just the cap? Is
that
the difference?
No, the cap from the outside it looks exactly the same. It's just internally it's the distances are a little different.
Well, what I mean is it's the same exact block.
Oh yes,
the cap would be different.
Yes. So it has a different marking on it, and then
It is a question for Mark Bowers on the prior, I think, but the ferrules.
Ferrules recommended for the
what?
Push-in?
For the push-in, actually, it only works as a push-in if it's solid and a ferrule. I mean, if you have a stranded wire, sometimes it works, but they're not designed designed for that. So yes, a ferrule is recommended.
For stranded wire.
Yes. Another fuse block added to the CX series. It's an automotive blade fuse block. So it's a terminal block which accepts a blade fuse, just a standard car fuse. It's this one version we have available. I got requests many times in the past. I think Dave have seen them. So
I think Weidmuller. I don't think Phoenix had it. Did Phoenix have it?
No,
While
they do have it now. Weidmuller has it. I'm not sure about Vago, but there's applications for that. It's just it's a standard fuse and people use it, and so it's available. It's UL, and from now on we sell it. So obviously simple. You just
enables you to have a very slim block.
Yeah, and it's actually a 6 millimeter block. That's another advantage over these. I mean, you can see see the difference. And last new item I want to talk about. So we're gonna have a CX series pluggable series. Also, we discussed this in the past with different customers. We had requests for it. I could never sell it because it wasn't UL, so it was included in the last UL project. So it's basically a base module. So on one side, it has the standard spring clamp connection, and on the other side, it has like a little connection pin, and then to have a plug connection, you can just plug that in. The plugs are actually stackable, so you can stack up to whatever number you want. So you can make one plug, you have an end section, and it's just handy in some applications if you can
disconnect.
Just I shouldn't say disconnect. You shouldn't disconnect under load, but to break the connection. And it also has a ground block module available. Obviously, there's different colors for the plugs. It slides in very nicely. It's UL now, standard ratings.
Nice.
Also, I think we're gonna find some nice customers and projects for this.